Hi there, and thanks for listening. If you're enjoying our podcast and have a recommendation about someone you think that we should have on to share their voice and journey with the world, by all means, let us know. It could be an aid worker, monastic, author, journalist, doctor, resistance leader, really anyone with some tie or another to the ongoing situation in Myanmar. To offer up a name, go to our website, insightmyanmar.org, and let us know. But for now, just sit back and take a listen to today's podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. So let me introduce myself. My name is Aung. So it is the short name. But I work with the media studies since 2007. At that time, also revolution in Myanmar is maybe you remember it is like we call it saffron revolution. So I started my professional job at the time, 2007. So I work with many media organizations like across the country, some small media organizations and also others like media big organization. So now I'm working as like a media trainer and also just kind of voluntarily working with like women media profession and also women journalists as well. So yeah, I work with Myanmar and also now I'm professionally I work with like international media supporting the organization. So at the same time also I'm working as a voluntarily for the women rights and also like women the media profession as well. And also like I work with as a voluntarily Myanmar Women Journalists Society. So it's we founded since 2016. At the time, it's like our country is the kind of the transition, but I took the positions. It's also totally volunteer positions. 2019 is also COVID-19 situation in also the whole world. So I work with as general secretary with Myanmar Women Journalists Society, but since 2023, last year, we started our new organization. It's just called like Myanmar Women in Media. We call like AMOIN. It's just like acronym. So why we started Myanmar Women in Media? So the first thing is like we would like to extend our network. So not only journalists, we intend to, but also others, media professions in the media sector. So we are thinking like, women journalists, women filmmakers, women video editors, women podcaster, also the woman fact checker, also in the newsroom, and also the woman anchor and the presenter in the newsroom. So mostly we are thinking that like our now what there should be a standard, even in this like the crisis, the situation crisis time. As you know, like that since 2021, after the military coup in Myanmar, is our all of our media profession and also the journalists, are facing the crisis and the challenges. So we cannot stay longer at our country. So now mostly we move to like other countries. Some are in Thailand, some are in Indians, and also like the others country as well. So some are in that country as for the others process. So like we started Myanmar Women in Media because the post-coup situation we have many challenges, not only the capacity building challenge, but also our the job security issue, and also sexual harassment and others gender-based discrimination. So women media profession like they face also we face like kind of like different discriminations and also different challenges. So that's why we are thinking like okay, we should start at one platform, one group. This is for like I speak out for our women media profession. This is also might be the kind of capacity building for our women media profession. So our goal and objective is it just very simply is gender equality in the media sector. So as you know, it's like there are many gender working for gender organization that inform Myanmar, but like our group is like only for women media profession. Mostly we are focused like women media profession. So we started Myanmar Women in Media since 2023. So as also my background, so I work with different media organizations, includes Nizima, and also now I'm working as a media trainer and also as a writers. Sometimes I write the opinions articles about gender equalities and then gender issues for Myanmar audience on some media organization. And now we started news organization. It's this new organization, but we have commitment, to cut like the gender equality in the media sector. So it is 1 year, and also that's my background: journalist, editor, media trainers, also as a writers, gender opinions.
Okay, so thank you for that lovely introduction about yourself and your work and your background. And I'm really curious to want to go deeper into your investigation and looking at gender equality, looking at the problems that women face in the workplace in Myanmar, particularly in journalism. And I'm especially interested in how things changed before and after the coup. Most of your work has been done really in the last couple of years post-coup. But before we get into that, I wonder if you can tell us about any studies or findings that you did during the transition period and what was happening with women in the workplace, and particularly women in the newsroom during the transition period. What kind of opportunities did they have? What kind of challenges did they face? What was going on during this time?
Yeah, of course. So as you know, it's like gender equality is that we are still struggling and still fighting over the war, not only our country. So like as you know, like our country is just kind of 2010 to 2020. It is like we call it transition period. So at that time, I think like we caught some improvement for our media industry, not only media industry, for the whole country, business, like civil societies and kind of these are, it was happened 2010 to 2020 is this transition period to our democracy. But like again, 2021 is the military coup again. So, but we have the knowledge, and then we have momentum during this 10 years, 10, 11 years for like our democracy, and also like our change and moralities. So change means like including everything, economic change, and also like our morality change, and also gender inclusion also change. So I would say it's like 2010 to 2020 is like gender equality is like slightly improved.
Okay.
So we are struggling, but gender equality is like slightly improved.
Right.
Like for example, it's like 2020 election. So like we have, and then around 30% are the woman candidate, and also like the winning the elections, and then it's like around 30% woman candidate. So woman MP. So it may like slightly improve, but sadly, it's like these elections is one not successful, and then coup again. So military see the power, and also we are back to. For me, I'm thinking is this back to 2007, 2005 something, because like back to the under military regime, military government. So as far as like the I understanding is like the under the dictatorships, like right based issue, every right based activity side go down. So that's why like our journalists, we cannot we cannot continue our profession inside the country. It is the main challenges, both men and women journalists. But I will share later so how women journalists more suffers and more challenges rather than the men journalists. So that's why also not only journalists, also like activists and others like politicians, like mostly flee from the country. Some are arrested, some are in the detention. So some of our women journalists, friends, colleagues, they stay detained in behind the bar. So this is the main challenge. It is like threatening to our life, threatening to our life. That is totally challenges for us. So we cannot stay longer at our country. Some are in the jungle. Some are we call like liberated area. But actually, like I'm thinking that some area is like totally conflict zone, right? And some are moved to on others country. But still we have, even like we live in other countries, like for example Thailand, but we still have challenges. So because like it is not our country, we are not a host. So we are thinking for our like even like we came from like airline with flight, is this we can say is this like official arriving, but it's still struggling, still challenging for our Myanmar citizen. So and as for woman journalists, we can think about like two categories after the military coup. The first one is like the woman journalists still working inside. So inside means like maybe they didn't show up their identity, their profession, but like they still working with low profile, very low profile, very low key. But some are working in some their conflict area. So it means like conflict area, not totally conflict zone, but like the resisting group and EAO, ERO, ethnic armed groups control area. Some are working in this control in this zone. This is like the first categories, and then second categories is like working in a second country. Second country mean like Thailand and also India as well. Maybe some other country, but mostly Thailand and India. But like news, like the scenario is some our journalists, some are in Bangladesh. So this is also new, and some journalists, some they are in a third country. So like I really would like to focus like the two situation. One is inside journalists, one is like in a third country journalist. So inside journalist is like we mostly we say this like every day they face emergency. It can be happen whatever, and also it can be arrested whenever. Is maybe they are sitting, even sometimes they are not working continue as a media profession, but they can be arrested because like that the SAC and also military regimes, like they don't care about it. Someone sent a message to them, hey, this he or she is journalist, and then like he or she connect with NUG and connect with like other media organization, so they can be arrested. So every day, is challenges for them. But like stay working. So some stay working in the conflict zone and the conflict area. As you know, conflict zone is like totally conflict zone. Some are in the front line. So like probably like they have challenges, and also they have not very much equipment, and also some journalists they don't have proper salaries. That is the main things. Even they are working in the very dangerous zone, but some journalists they don't have proper salary, they don't have proper income at all. That is the main challenges, and then yeah. And so even they stay working, but nobody cared about their health, nobody cared about their safety. Some organization care about them, but later not for everybody, right? So that
In,
is
in in contrast, you would say the male journalists that are also on the front lines, do you find that they have better support, better care, better salary in those situations?
I am not so sure. So some, like the man journalists and also photographer, I know some people also they don't have. But women, like, firstly, like, now I see that the photo is it just small. It is not a house. It is only the place. It's while our women journalists stay in conflict areas. So, this also challenges. Sometimes it's, the conflicts happening. So definitely they have to flee as like as civilians. So they cannot do their profession. And another thing is like for the second country. So like mostly like journalists are free from the country from Myanmar, mostly live in like Mae Sao and Chiang Mai in Thailand. And so some journalists in Mae Sao, they don't have proper document because like they came across, they just across the rivers from Myanmar to Thailand. So like it's totally, we can say it is illegal, but like we don't want to use this term. It is illegal. Our people are legal, not illegal. So that's why we use like that, undocumented. We are legal, but we have no documents. That's also the problem, and also healthcare problems. So in like other countries, it's quite expensive rather than like our country. So most of the journalists also they don't have proper salary, so they cannot pay these like proper healthcare services. And for women, just kind of like the double burden. So I think that it is double burden because like in our the Burmese cultures, women are what it is called, it's like family caretakers for the family, right? So definitely women have to care the family. So if women cross the river, whatever, flee from the country, also they think about their families, they think about their children, they think about their parents. So like we can see many women with children, with their parents. So it's just like I think like not only double, because like we are thinking ourselves, to be honest, like how can we survive? But women think about like that, not only how can I survive, but also thinking about for their children, thinking about for their parents. So like if we say about children, so women journalists, mothers, I mean like mother think about their children education, their children health. But like this is struggling and then struggling and the crisis time. So it's very less care about others, the social issue, social problem. That also the problems. And another thing is kind of the job opportunity. So after the military coup situation, so the newsroom, some newsroom, they are not continues their newsroom, and they are so like they close the newsroom, and also like they resettle again in the other country, like for example mostly in Thailand, I'm sure. So also the newsroom, struggling a lot to resettle in other country.
Yeah.
So like newsroom cannot, create the job opportunity. So for example, if they have one, journalist, that journalist should know how to write the report. That journalist should know how to edit the video. That journalist should know how to report, how to do, like the podcast reporting, how to do radio reporting, and also sometimes they need, to show their face on screen. So like just kind of multitasking, it is good, but sometimes it is like overload for the journalists. So both man and woman journalists. So like women journalists, as I mentioned earlier, so like job opportunity is so less, and also they have double burdens, children or something like that. So like the media organization also they used to ask the question. So if your children is sick, can you do properly your work? This is not only my code. This is code from like our recently research. So let me continue my research. So our research. So MWIM, we started the research. We launched this research this year. It's called like the crisis and the coup. So is this a crisis and also under the we have challenges situation. So like our research topic is like based on the three categories. One is like gender-based violence, second gender-based discrimination, and third sexual violence issue in the newsroom and also the workplace. The research especially focus on the two main areas, Chiang Mai and Mesa for exam. So we can say exam media profession. But like in the respondents, sometimes like they are confusing stuff. What is the probably definitions of gender-based violence, GBD, and sexual harassment? So we got like some categories, but all are missed. Just kind of using their identity. Sometimes like media organizations or maybe media owners, editors, like they use woman identity to apply like emergency or individual grant. But sometimes like the journalists, woman journalists, they don't know. So kind of these are happening, and also like thinking about the woman participation in the media status media, but it's still and then like under for the woman representation in the newsroom. And also there's some organization, as I mentioned earlier, so the organization also they are struggling for resettlement. So that's why like they cannot create that job opportunity. They are not thinking too much about social welfare. I understand it, but like we should think about women. We should think about women burdens. We should think about like the women's and also the equality issue. So I don't know. Is it just kind of like I don't know what is the right solution, but like it's happening all the times. So some women journalists, and men journalists both, they have very large salary, but they stay struggle because they cannot come back to the country. If they come back, obviously they can be arrested. So they cannot come back. So sometimes like that's also the impact. They dare not to speak up if they face the kind of sexual harassment case and others discrimination case that they cannot speak up because like if he or she speak up, so like if he or she became jobless, no one help him or her. That is also challenges for the journalists.
So thank you for sharing about your work and the important studies that you have been doing. So your group, Women in Media, has conducted this study of looking at some of the problems that women journalists have faced in third countries, particularly Thailand, after the coup took place, and reporting on it and the methods that you described. Can you share where this report went and what is being done? What is the next steps now with having taken this research and seeing these problems? Do you see any signs that there is interest in looking at the results of your study and making proper changes in different newsrooms based on your report?
Yeah, to be honest, we intend to be, something change in the newsroom. So we found some, common cases, as also I mentioned on the some earlier. I already mentioned is just like the using identities of women journalists. So we have the women journalists and that applies women journalist identity for the grant, but actually sometimes, it doesn't mean everyone, it doesn't mean every newsroom, but the some newsroom and the journalist herself, she doesn't know it. They use their identity. So second one is we find out that some problems is this very common problems, and we see an equal opportunity. This is totally we consider is the discrimination, because an equal opportunity to go to, for example, to go to the conflict area, to go to front line. The male journalists and also the editor, they are thinking women should not go front line.
Mm-hmm.
Women should not go the crisis areas, because they thought it is protection.
Mm-hmm.
Women should not go there. But later, they haven't asked about the woman concerns. They didn't give these any chance. But finally, this is also opportunity for journalists, right? If they agree, otherwise they won't agree. That's fine. But women want to go conflict area, but journalists, the editor and the senior deny to go to this area. So we call it an equal opportunity. And
so you're describing that on one hand, the legitimate concerns that women have, and especially their dual roles as caretaker and their families, and also being able to be in the newsroom, sometimes these concerns are not so honored or protected, whereas there's a kind of patriarchal attitude for women that then want to go to conflict zones. Then there's this double-edged sword where they're not paying attention to one concern, but suddenly they're being patriarchal at the other, saying, well, we don't know if it's really proper for women to go. Even those female journalists that want to go to those front lines and want to do that reporting, they're prevented based on views that this is something more for a man to do. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Just kind of they think it's just protection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. But they're protecting against one thing, but not the other.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is unsafe interaction. Just kind of unsafe interaction mean the last day also we discussed at this point in our woman on the group discussion. That is for example in our side some kinds of informal networking that happening in the evening, go to bar, go to the beer station. But sometimes, it is man only. That's fine. Sometimes maybe woman only.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Right.
But sometimes it's the woman join man, other informal networking. So some women, not all, some women journalists, they feel unsafe. They don't like it. Sometimes I want the touching, and also talking something, just kind of, asking sex or something like that.
Really?
So in our research, so the one or two respondents, they ask, so they are senior role, senior management, ask for sex, even for the LGBT. So if they deny it, it is impact for their work.
Yeah.
Just kind of not publishing their story.
Uh-huh.
Just reduce the salaries, so kind of things. So woman face is kind of unsafe interaction. Yeah. And it is not only came from the newsroom, but also from the sources. So like woman contact subject, these days the journalists can contact like so it's safe applications, messenger application, like for example signal. So the soldiers they got the signal, and then the soldiers sometimes sends the unwanted message, kind of like sexual message at night. Hey, show your photos or something like that. So this unsafe is not only from the newsroom but also from the soldiers. That also the women's they're facing differently man.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'm thinking here is that in this current time in Myanmar history, unprecedented changes, and it's not just a fight against the military and wanting to to overcome the military and have things go back as normal. It's a full-fledged revolution. This is the word we keep hearing. This is a revolution at every scale of Myanmar society. And so when you're talking about the way that women journalists have equal opportunities as their male counterparts, and to say nothing of the safety they should feel with their superiors, with their peers, with their sources, I wonder to what degree are the studies that you're doing and the positive change that you would like to see as a result of those studies, to what degree do you see this work and this methodology fitting into this framework of this overall revolution that's taking shape and these structural changes that you'd like to see in Myanmar society going forward?
It's actually maybe it's actually not the rightly for the revolution, but like we need more improvement in our media setup. That's what I thought. Because of revolutions, so we have like the conflict zones and the conflict areas, but like as a like general perspective, why women should not go there? If woman can do it, let it she can do it. She can go there, but like just kind of protection reasons. But not every newsroom. Some newsrooms like State have the women's reporters and women photographer in front lines. It's also linked with like representation. So another common things like woman faces like is this representation. So in show our research, it's like representations in the field reporting. So the research says it is like under-representation of women field reportings and leadership roles in the media houses. This is very common things. Yeah. So like under-representation to the field reportings and under-representation in the leadership role is still happening. After the military coups, the military regime like they prags to media, so just kind of pressure. But like meanwhile, the revolution group, the resisting groups, they are thinking like the equality, gender equality. But like for me, stay struggling for the management role level and the higher position level to get women that representation. So it's still under representation. So this is like another common things we see. And like for our research, also we ask them and male representation, male participants. The answer are women are not fully qualified to get the leadership role. This is just kind of like vice versa. So they think women are not fully qualification, but at the same time, and then the women didn't get the proper job because of you have children, you are pregnant. So kind of things are still happening, and so like the research says not my words is like underrepresentation for women.
So this is underrepresentation in terms of, I assume, all jobs, all fields in journalism. The numbers, the percentages are lower than they should be. So I'm wondering about senior management. I'm sure that once you get up to more senior positions and editors, those percentages become even more skewed and even smaller when it comes to women. What can you give us looking at the Myanmar media landscape, which, as we should emphasize again, is basically all in exile? These are extremely hard conditions they're operating under, and the funding for Myanmar media is just going down across the board, so that makes it further strapped. Just to give an understanding of the landscape and the context, within this exile Myanmar media, looking at senior management levels, how would you describe the challenges of representation and how low I would guess that those numbers might be there?
Yeah. Actually, we don't have proper numbers and proper statistics. So like, to be honest, like we have we don't have a concrete number how many women journalists in Mesa, how many women journalists in Chiang Mai is for exam. We don't have the concrete number. So sometimes it's the in and out. So it is quite difficult, and might be our our capacity is very limited capacity for us to get that kind of these number.
Right.
And also some newcomer, they started their job as a woman journalist after the coup. So it's things, but like for the seniors and management level, so we know like the media organization, so stay low, stay and representation for the media, leadership level. For our research, like we are thinking, to know that these are the difficulties and the challenges, what's happening after the military coup situation. So maybe everyone knows it. Okay, we already know this situation, this and that. That's fine. But we don't have concrete data, concrete information. That's why we started these crises under the coup research, because we have these, evidence. This is evidence. This is evidence. Like, everyone can use this evidence. Ever maybe like someone want to cover the news, this is evidence. They can use it as evidence. That's why we started. Even like we know everything, we know that this situation, but we need evidence. That's why we started this evidence research. So for the next step, if also newsroom know about this evidence, maybe they can change it.
And are you seeing signs? Are you seeing any positive signs of that potential change?
Yeah. I don't want to say only our reports, and also Exam Hub. Exam Hub is also the organization for the supporting and also emergency as well. Also, Exam Hub the conduct the one research. It is also about the voice of women, and especially for exam. So like some people think about our two research is exactly saying no, not saying. So exam Hub report is like more generally, and also like the results like the many studies and kind of salaries and like the other things. So for our crisis under the coup, we mainly focus like sexual harassment and the discrimination issue. So quite different, but like kind of the small stuff. Also, Asian had doing, other women journalists doing, and our group, Myanmar Women in Media, also we are starting these small stuff. So at least we are thinking like the media organization, regardless of big, small, or medium size, they should have gender policy and non-discrimination policy.
And do they?
Yeah. So some are not, state not.
What percentage would you say have those policies, and what percentage do not?
I am not so sure, but some are not having this policy. So, but because of these small stuff, even the small stuff, but like some organization, they are thinking like kind of like we should have gender policy. That is good sign, and that is positive signs. And also, these report not only for the media organization, we send to the donor organization. Obviously, after the coup situations, like the incomes and supporting for media organizations, and then like the main is donor, like the organization. So like this is just kind of the pressure. If like so donor organization, if they want to give the grant to the media organization, maybe they can ask, they can request their policy. How about gender policy? How about sexual harassment policy? So one of our recommendation for these research is including donor organization should as the kind of state policy to the newsroom before awarding the grants. That should be. That's
that makes
why,
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's why like that we put like that these the recommendations. This is one of our recommendation. So this is kind of like other side pressures and like women groups starting these small stuff, and it's work. We see like kind of the good sign, but not only from NWIM. I'm sure others group and others organization they're studying these things. And also donor organization also listening our voices. That's good.
That's great. Now, there's a counter argument that we hear often during this revolution when concerns are expressed about challenges, problems, inequities that are occurring on the side of the resistance, the revolution, and democratic forces. There's a pushback that will take the form of we just need to be in solidarity. We need to not be quarreling amongst each other. We need to take down the military. Once the military is taken down, then we can discuss and work out with all of our time and space and safety. We can work out the issues at this time. But the more that we quarrel and debate these and we're not in solidarity right now, that's not the priority. The priority is the revolution, and the revolution is to take down the military. And once we take down the military, then we will tackle all these other issues. And I'm sure that in the course of your research, you've heard some version of that argument saying, yes, we hear you. We know that things aren't good, but now is not the time. We're going to get to this later. Have you heard some variants of that response in your work, and how do you usually respond to that?
Yeah. That's a good question. This is, always talking about it. This is like old frames, old scenarios. But stay useful. We have to fight these dictatorships. Other right case are, just behind. We can discuss later, right? Yeah. So, like in Burmese, woman, just for the moment, we have to fight these dictatorships. And that's not true. That's not totally true. So we have to fight. We have to stay, speak out. We have to stay talking about these right issue. Why we fight dictators? Because we lost our right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So like, this is like I mentioned. This is old frame. This is like the old scenarios. But stay working. But not everyone. Some, like the resisting groups, they are young, they are just kind, they know the right, so they are thinking the right-based issue. But I can't say for every group, So that's why we had kind of, the discrimination case, in the some the M groups area, and gender-based discrimination cases. So we also had. Yeah. So like that's why like we are doing this and that. That's why we are still pushing and pressure for that. So not only fighting on the dictator, so we should fight every dictator, and also we should think about the right. Even like we are thinking we postpone our right, it is too late when we come back to win these dictators. Actually, these are not the separate things. Right are right. So right for humans and also human beings. So if we are ongoing, right is also at the same time we can do the right issue. This is not separate time. This is not extra time. So we can do these right issue things. So that's why we fight. We stay the speak up. We stay talking about these right issue. So no, it is not a good reason. So we cannot. It is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. That's why. Okay, definitely we have to do kind of things and that. So, firstly, some men like they are talking. Oh, revolution is our priority. We know revolution is our priority, right? Like to take down the dictator, this is our priority, that's right. But at the same time, we value our rights. We should value our rights. We should think about our rights.
Yeah.
Is it so I say like rights, human rights, is it also human right? The same. Is it not, separate things? Woman right is also a part of human right. That's it.
It sounds like you're saying that your job now, and the job of the Myanmar people, is not just to battle the dictator, but to also battle the dictatorial thinking that might be in all of us to some degree, and to change that as well.
Yeah, I don't want to say everyone. Some groups, some youth, like the youth leaders. So even like male leaders, even in the like armed groups, male leaders, they respect the rights. They respect the woman rights. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Because like that we have, so-called democracy 10 years. We got it. So that's a good sign. That's good. But not everyone. But like I would say, stay happening kind of these, like the patriarchy's, thinkings, patriarchy ideology. So stay happening. So I don't know very detailed in the field, but sometimes we know the situation. So I might say stay happening these patriarchy ideology.
So the next question, I don't want to ask you to name any names, but of those organizations that you see in the media that are generally doing a better job than others, are there any that you see passing with really perfect or near perfect marks, or even the ones that are doing a bit better on your scale? Are there still questions and concerns among those as well?
Yeah. This is my personal, and also like based on our research. So we saw like some improvements, and some are doing good things for these equalities, and also some are thinking like this equality the issue. Like is this why they change it? Is this also like the different pressures, different PR pressures like we project. Like
right.
Like for example, like we started this research, and ASIAN has conducted one research. This is also kind of pressures. Yeah. For me, like when we started our group and Moins, we are doing kind of like the advocacy way, and also like kind of like advocacy to the media organizations. Actually, like to be honest, we are not activists. We are journalists. So also we are thinking about like advocacy and like we see like soft power. We don't have hard power. We have no power. Hey, like you should go to the jail. We have no power. We have no mechanism at all. So that's why like we really rely on our soft power. This change happenings also after the coups and under these situations after 2021 is coup, and I think like 2022. 23, 24 it start changing for these things because this is because of our small strike, I'm sure. So like not only from our side, but also like our recommendations, like our recommendation is donor organizations should act the honesty policy, and that's kind of another pressures. So like this is the main source for their income, for the media organization income. So like that.
Right.
So media organization, definitely have to show their gender equality.
That's clever,
right?
Yeah.
So they want to show that how they how they care about gender equality. Definitely they want to show, and definitely they have to show that. So that's why they are trying to cut woman representation in the media set, in their newsroom. Like for example, just this is like one of my friends, like she was invited from newsroom. Hey, please help our newsroom, because like all of our newsroom are men are sitting in the newsroom. That's why we need women. So my friend asked, why you need women? So sometimes do not ask. You have the woman in the newsroom.
Oh boy.
Actually, it's difficult. It's like is this positive or negative?
Yeah.
But like kind of the pressure we need. Otherwise, it's like the woman issue is like that, forgotten issue. Oh yeah, it's not very important. Kind of the pressure, but like one thing is like is it important? it should be sustained and continuously. Not only 1 year, not only 6 months.
Yeah.
It should be continuously.
Yeah.
And also we every times like we think about like this equality. Yeah, that is the main thing I think.
Right. And in your report, you reference how there was one case where a senior editor at one media organization had a history of inappropriate behavior. And I believe the report noted that he was reprimanded, but then came right back. And so, because he was considered too valuable for that organization. And so this also hits into, there could be these surface level or temporary changes that something might occur, that you might see some evidence of positive change in a moment or in a day, but then things just go back to normal, I assume.
Yeah, that's really a good question, and thanks for your question. So this is just kind of short term, right?
Yeah.
That's you mentioned, right? This is totally right. Short terms and kind of thing. So that's why at the same time we are thinking about not only kind of things, we are thinking about like the capacity building of women. Definitely we need kind of these weapons. Otherwise, like men think about this, oh, women are not qualified at all. But go back to your question. So this is just kind of sometimes like it's not a good word, and then it's like just kind of like for showing to someone, maybe to owner, and maybe like others organization.
Right.
This is like, I'm sure this is short term, but like we should do some kinds of weapon to be the long terms. Women should have like genuine like good qualities, like that's we still need. That's why we are thinking about like capacity building issue. And also one thing I always talk about is because like I'm on the teachings on the gender, and also I'm on the sharing like my experience for like kind of gender articles. The one thing is like that like the people who regardless of journalists or activists, the people if they don't understand very well about the concept of gender, they are doing kind of the kind of the short-term things, not thinking about the long-term and valuable things. So just kind of temporary solution for them to get the funding, to get the opportunity. That's it.
Right.
But like at the same times we are thinking, to start with that kind of like the gender workshop and sexual harassment workshop to men at the same time, especially for the like senior level. We are thinking on that because if they don't understand, like for me, I use the word is digestible. If like some concept, if you are not digestible, if you are not on the trust this issue, like so everything your activity is just kind of for the short terms, for some interest. That's it.
Right.
So definitely need to know and need to digest these issues, these topics, so that also got and also very understandable, and then should think about all the times, not thinking separately. So sometimes like media organizations or other people think about gender, oh, this is separate issue, this is not like this. Actually you trust gender equality. Actually you trust you digested these kind of issue, they digested these kind of issue, not a separate thinking for that. This is like combining all thinkings and also thinking about gender needs and also like the woman issue at the same time. So for me personally, I trust is like a short term, it's a positive sign. That's good. But still thinking about like the many perspectives and the many activities. Like for example, capacity building for women. Women got these weapons, women are qualified, they can get good jobs. So that's my trust. And also at the same time, we have to do the advocacy. Hey, should have gender policy. You should have sexual harassment policy. This is might be second thing. And so for me, like also thinking about like the gender concepts to everyone in the newsroom. Not only gender concept, not only for women, gender concept, but also for men in the newsroom, especially newsroom editorial level and then senior level. They should have gender concept. Gender concept not only, just one day lesson. No, it is not. Gender concept is just kind of, it is like long terms, and also thinking about all the times for gender needs and differences, gender-based kind of discriminations or something like that. So it should be long terms. So is this like obviously is it change, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to change something, but is it difficult to change someone?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we stay fighting.
Sure. It's interesting though, because I'm thinking as you're describing the nature of the Myanmar media being exiled in third countries because they're not safe in their own country. Of course, this is terrible for all the obvious reasons, and the personal safety and getting the news out, the instability, the visa issues, and on and arrests, on and on and on that goes through. But, as we see with history, so many terrible moments in history can have unintended positive consequences that also accompany those. And I'm just thinking as you're talking that it is interesting that you're describing a scenario where these media organizations now, because of these terrible things that have happened and continue to happen and the funding levels that are so down, they are almost entirely dependent on donor organizations to keep them alive. And it's really a struggle, and a tragic struggle that the Myanmar media space is in such, across the board, is really in such difficult conditions. Every organization is struggling in their own way right now, big, small, regional, etc. And because they're not able to rely on revenue as they were before the coup, the relationships with these donor organizations become all the more important. But what makes this so interesting for your work is that does give you a special opportunity of leverage that you wouldn't have ordinarily if their funding, if they had multiple funding streams coming from different directions. You could not go above their head and talk to the donor organizations that and express your concerns and your priorities with them, and then have those clauses in the funds that they're looking to apply at a later date. And as you said, there is also the concern you don't want it to just be structural in terms of just something they have to fulfill for a grant in order to get the money, and then they can go do what they want to do. You want it to have long-lasting and long-term and systematic changes. That's very important. However, that being the case, it is interesting that this current opportunity does give you the leverage and the possibility of talking to these donor organizations with perhaps more influence than you would ordinarily.
Yeah, also like I noticed the kind of the things, right? So like you mentioned, like donor organization more influence to the newsroom. And then is this also not a good sign, right? So
right.
Newsroom should be independent.
Yeah.
But that's why one, maybe if I remember correctly from donor organization, when we launched our research, so one of our recommendation is donor organizations, has a helping mechanism for sexual harassment, and another one is should kind of the pressures for these policy, gender policy and sexual harassment policy. So if I remember correctly, is that one attendees from the donor organization, and then he said donor organization don't want to do kind of the control. This is not for donor organization. Yeah. So also that's why I noticed that kind of these things. Also, I'm concerned about this. Donor, what is this called? Donor supervision, so kind of more control. Ethics are also important issue. Yeah. So it should not be. Yeah. To be honest, it should not be. That's why.
Right.
Yeah. That's why our recommendation is not only this one, but also we are thinking let's say for example sexual harassment. So for me, I always talk about the sexual harassment is no issue at all. So no reason at all. No, this is revolution. No excuse. So that's why like we need kind of sexual harassment mechanism at the moment. We don't have the sexual harassment mechanism.
Right.
So that's why like if we talk about the sexual harassment mechanism, who better this mechanism? Internally. Sometimes, like the woman survivor, oh, we don't trust internet mechanism. So maybe like independent, something like that. So that's why we are thinking kind of the things like that. In our country situation, it's very difficult to say something about like like these ethical issues and other issues because like the chaos situation, the crisis situation. So like other thing is like we are thinking like the IBCM, Independent Press Council Myanmar. So if like IBCM can do some these kind of mechanisms or these kind of things like properly, that's also work for us for media industry. But it's hard to say. I'm sure hard to say. Also, I don't want like donor influencing more. I don't want. Also, I don't like. And also like some on the informal discussions. Mostly, I talk about is no like not every time should not go to the donor. We should like our mechanism. We should have our how can I say this? It's just kind of like system we should have. Not every time should not go to the donor organization. And also some donor organization, they don't have these authority. They don't have no power for that. If like like for example labor exploitation, I know that they have authority, but like they may have the policy and also like they can find it out their policy, but I don't know how.
But they have the purse strings.
Yeah, just kind of push, push, and also pressure. Yeah, and also like that's why I told you like don't before giving the grants, donor organization can ask do have like how many women in the newsroom.
Yeah.
And also like maybe donor organization has a the policy, so the newsroom they don't have the general policy, no grant.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the kind of the policy, but
It's
is a part of pressure, a part of the maybe like the push, right? But it doesn't mean like the donor intervention all the time in the newsroom. No, not at all. Newsroom should be independent, especially for like for me like for their production, news production, newsroom definitely have to be independent. But kind of the things like gender, sexual harassment, so not only donor but also others, that can push and then can do like peer pressure. Also peer pressure, it does work.
Yeah.
Posting on social media. Like this day is like on social media. Posting on social media, something like just kind of like, reflecting for them for their accountability. Yeah. Just kind of not only one way, not only donor, not only our organization, not only peer pressure, but like that we should do, different way, different, the different themes, different advocacy, but it's aim for gender equality. That would be great.
Yeah, now perhaps another unintended benefit of this terrible situation of Myanmar journalists and everyone else being in exile is in these third countries, they're outside of their own immediate community. There are people they can link up with and connect in these other third countries. And we've seen that in Thailand to a very large degree with the artists. And there's been some beautiful synergy with Burmese and Thai artists that have come together to do exhibitions. For example, A New Burma has done a lot to bring together these different Gen Z artists who are meeting each other and seeing each other's art and seeing the way that across different Southeast Asian countries, they're using their activism or art or whatever to want to assert their values and their resistance to traditional authorities, even as they take different shapes. And so, and of course, this taps into the whole Milk Tea Alliance and the loose and informal connection that is the milk tea. But when it comes to journalists and when it comes to female journalists and gender equality, has there been any synergy or conversation or collaboration with Thai journalists that might be facing something similar in this country?
Yeah, I would say no. Not Not very much.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have a chance to talk with like other some women journalists, Thai women journalists, but not a the big discussion. So yeah, definitely we are also thinking like that to collaborate with like the Thai organizations. Yeah, and also like we are thinking, at least we are thinking for ASEAN.
Yeah.
We are thinking for ASEAN. Also, this is also one of our strategy and one of our objectives. Not only so, for example, Thai is like, to be honest, we need Thai alliance, because so like if we face women journalists face like the sexual harassment cases, we have no mechanism at all right now. If we had Thai alliance can help and then can support to us. How should we go? Or something like that.
Solidarity.
Yeah, solidarity we need. So that's why like also our next step, maybe we need time, but next step also thinking about with the Thai journalists, and also at least we should I mean like not only our organization, our Myanmar media side should think about at least Thai and ASEAN. We have no alliance right now, so that's why.
That would be great to establish.
That's why I think IBCN studying the kind of the alliance. Yeah, but like every time we have limitation.
Right. Now we've been talking a lot about female journalists, but what about LGBT? Can you tell us a bit about the challenges and the experience of LGBT journalists that are in newsrooms or reporting in conflict areas?
Yeah, it's also the difficult, because like we also ask our like the LGBT the participant for our research. So like I would like to repeat you the quote from our transgender woman. She is KIM participant. So she says like, man think it is really easy to cut LGBT, especially for sexual activities. So like maybe like the senior level they think about LGBT very easy rather than women. So that's why, and then also they have more challenges, and also different challenges. I don't mean more challenges; it's different challenges.
Sure.
Yeah, rather than the woman issue. But so for our group under WIM, also we are thinking LGBTI participation. Yeah, that's why we invite the LGBT journalists, and also we very careful about to reflect their voices. Yeah, that also thinking about for us. So like our NWIM structure, we think about LGBT participation at least, not only LGBT, men and LGBT participation at least 25 to 30%. But is it LGBT like it's also like we continue discussion, but like for example transgender woman, they can be our member. Transgender women, they can be our members. We are not denying at all. But men cannot our member. But we will invite men for some, discussion and some activities. And also, like I mentioned earlier, we are thinking only senior male journalists gender training, gender workshop with them. Also, and then that's also useful for them. So kind of the activity our underlying thinking. Like for example, in our BOD board member and also advisory member, we have at least one man in the board member. Because also like we are thinking also we should respect their perspectives. And also we are thinking gender equality, not like that, not power over. We are thinking like equality issue. So we should respect like that. These are the man's perspective.
Is that's very interesting to hear, and I wonder, is that coming as a response to other initiatives where you describe it as gender equality, not power over, and do you have a concern that other kinds of initiatives or groups that you've seen are perhaps not really aiming for gender equality among all genders and identifications and sexual orientations, but that it's more of a drive to want to have power over than equality? Is that a concern that you've seen?
Actually, not a concern. If I'm now talking about like equality, but I always talk about equity. If we are talking equality, also we should think about equity issue. So because like in our country, the situations like it is like totally patriarchy, societies and country. So that's why like why we are sometimes like I got a question from the man participant in the training in the workshop. Why women are more taken beneficiary rather than men? No, it's just like you already got these the beneficiary. Actually, it is not beneficiary for them. It is just kind of normal for them. But women not same. It is totally different. That's why we are thinking equity for women. That's why we are trying like capacity building for women, this and that training for women because like women didn't cut in the past. That's why we are thinking like capacity building, and also for the kind of the speak up. It's women mostly like our patriarchy society. Women are mostly silent, so that's why like we need the kind of empowerment program for women. That is main things, but sometimes some organizations and then some people they are thinking it's not too much. It's just not a issue, but like sometimes like we see like gender inequality and like power over. So actually for me like personally I don't like power over at all. So that's why like when we think about our organization structure, we should not do power over at all. That's why like we are thinking, okay, we should think about man perspective. That's why we invite the man as a BOD and others like advisory board level, board member. But it is not open for membership. Man should not be the membership for our groups. But sometimes we are thinking, kind of these the maybe like for example capacity building training, like for example investigative journalism. So both men and women are interesting, yeah, sure. But like our group definitely focus women, but maybe we can invite like 10%, 20% men or something like that. That's our idea. But let's see it does work or not. But hopefully we also show like our model it does work, and also respects like others gender, not only men, including like LGBT in this 20%. Yeah, so definitely we should think about like this LGBT other community as well, and also we want to show like our commitment for gender equality.
Right, and on the subject of LGBT that you just referenced, to what degree do you have a sense that it's safe for one to be openly gay or lesbian in a Myanmar newsroom today?
It's difficult. It's still difficult, especially I think gay is difficult. As for our the patriarchies, so man want even they are gay, and then they can speak like they can openly outside, but they don't want to open in the workplace. That's what I thought. Because like I know one or two.
Right. Can you go into a bit of detail about what challenges they face and why they perhaps don't come out in the workplace, and what problems would come if they were known as gay?
Yeah. I think like this is my personal opinion. I think it's just kind of sometimes discrimination. Sometimes just kind of oh, this is just kitty to quite feminine man. Actually, they don't want to open. He is gay, but like they are quite feminine, right? Quite soft. So sometimes it's like our patriarchy thing about like masculine is is strong for man. So if like someone even man but like they are not masculine, just kind of feminine, like they want kind of discrimination. Sometimes it's not targetedly and not intentionally, but unintentionally, like might be the key, like the feeling is might be insecurity. That one my personal perspectives. our group, Myanmar Women in Media. So definitely we continue for our commitments, and also we are thinking about gender equality and also capacity building for women journalists, and also like our aim is like our goal is uh, many more the women journalists in the senior level and decision making level in the newsroom. Yeah, and also like we are working for the freedom of expression issue. So kind of students are combining. We are continue. We continue for that. Thank you for your time, your interviews. Yeah.
We want to take a moment to introduce you to our nonprofit Better Burma's online shop, which features handicrafts sourced from artisan communities scattered throughout Myanmar. Far from being mass-produced knockoffs, the pieces we offer are unique and handmade, reflecting the wide diversity of different peoples found throughout the country. When Myanmar experienced its transition period, moving from democracy in the late 2010s after decades of harsh military dictatorship, many Burmese craftspeople hoped their beautiful work could finally be appreciated beyond the country. When Myanmar experienced its transition period, moving towards democracy in the late 2010s after decades of harsh military dictatorship, many Burmese craftspeople hoped their beautiful work could finally be appreciated beyond the country's borders. But sadly, this was not to be so. Following the military coup, many skilled artisans suddenly found all possibility of continuing their livelihood closed off and began struggling just to feed their families. With this in mind, we prioritize working with artisans from disadvantaged and vulnerable backgrounds because we know just how hard it can be to survive at the margins of society in Myanmar. This includes such people as those with disabilities, mothers who have contracted HIV/AIDS, civil servants on CDM, ethnic and religious minorities, and more. To view these wonderful pieces, please visit alokacrafts.com. That's Aloka, A-L-O-K-A, crafts, C-R-A-F-T-S, one word, alokacrafts.com. Otherwise, please consider a donation through our usual channels. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are being impacted by the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Your donation will go on to support a wide range of humanitarian and media missions, aiding those local communities who need it most. Donations are directed to such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, internally displaced person IDP camps, food for impoverished communities, military defection campaigns, undercover journalists, refugee camps, monasteries and nunneries, education initiatives, the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies, COVID relief, and more. We also make sure that our donation fund supports a diverse range of religious and ethnic groups across the country. We invite you to visit our website to learn more about past projects, as well as upcoming needs. You can give a general donation or earmark your contribution to a specific activity or project you would like to support, perhaps even something you heard about in this very episode. All of this humanitarian work is carried out by our nonprofit mission, Better Burma. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is directed towards this fund. Alternatively, you can also visit the Better Burma website, betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause in both websites except credit card. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/betterburma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to these respective accounts or email us at info@betterburma.org. That's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA.org. If you would like to give in another way, please contact us. We also invite you to check out our range of handicrafts that are sourced from vulnerable artisan communities across Myanmar, available at alokacrafts.com. Any purchase will not only support these artisan communities, but also our nonprofit's wider mission. That's Aloka Crafts, spelled ALOKACRAFTS, one word, alokacrafts.com. Thank you so much for your kind consideration and support.
Potaba Yarananga Yaunana, Dadu Yadananga Ganizadamana, we got a Besayana, Besayo. Oba Yarananda, Dayananga, Yaranaya, Dayanam, Potaba, Yaranam.